All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, when LeBron James decided that he was going to join the LA Lakers back in the summer of 2018, well, really, he decided that he was going to join the Lakers probably way back in 2011 or 2012, but that's neither here nor there. When he finally signed the contract to join them back in the summer of 2018, I'm not quite sure that he understood exactly what environment he was going to be entering. That being an environment and an atmosphere filled with fanboys who had grown up watching him play. So the first thing that LeBron was going to have to decipher and discern was which one of the fanboys were going to be so good that it was going to be impossible for him to include that person in a trade. That was what the nice guy routine was about for the majority of the 2018-2019 season between LeBron and a lot of the Lakers' younger players. Whether it be Lonzo Ball or Brandon Ingram or whoever else was on the Lakers squad that they had drafted in the past 2 to 3 years that LeBron knew that they were going to have to get rid of. And the only player who ended up surviving the cut was Kyle Kuzma. Why is that? Who knows? There are a bevy of stories revolving around Kyle Kuzma and why he was allowed to stay on the team. Was it because he was allegedly involved in a romantic situation with the Lakers' quote-unquote owner, Jeannie Bust-Down Tatiana? Was it because he's the player who LeBron thinks fits in best with the Lakers from here going forward? Whatever the reason was that Kyle Kuzma was able to avoid being traded to the New Orleans Pelicans, all that seems to be going by the wayside now because Kyle Kuzma decided that he was going to co-sign a series of tweets by his current trainer, a trainer who was formerly associated with the LA Clippers superstar Kawhi Leonard, and of course they got back to LeBron. And justifiably so, LeBron was offended because at the end of the day, LeBron's overall attitude when it comes to his teammates seems to be, as long as you go along with the LeBron James program and the LeBron James show, we'll get along. And if we don't get along, you have to move along. That's how LeBron operates. So ever since Kyle Kuzma has decided that he was going to co-sign what his trainer states, he's been on the trading block. LeBron loves to play this game with the media, as well as with the fans and with the Lakers front office, over whether or not he should be considered an assistant GM or what have you. What you'll notice is that when the team is doing well, LeBron loves to take credit for a lot of the moves that get made. When they're not doing well, I have nothing to do with any of the transactions that the GM decides to make. We know what the real deal is. At the end of the day, Kyle Kuzma has declared himself as someone who's not fully on board with the LeBron James experience. So he will get traded, in my view, before the trading deadline. If he doesn't get traded, it's going to be because his performance is so bad that the rest of the NBA is out on Kyle Kuzma. But I doubt that. I think that they're going to make a trade happen because the Lakers do actually need help. The Lakers need another 3-and-D guy, which is about all the third star on a LeBron James team is ever going to be allowed to do. Even Chris Bosh became a 3-and-D guy. Kevin Love became a 3 guy with no defense. That's why he and LeBron often butted heads. But anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
All right, welcome back to Speak For Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Whitlock and Wiley, joined now by Fox NBA analyst Jim Jackson and Yahoo Sports senior NBA insider Chris Haynes. All right, let's move to the Lakers, who have rolled to the Western Conference's best record so far this year. But there could be some drama brewing. Last week, Kyle Kuzma had some explaining to do after appearing to echo his trainer's criticism of LeBron on social media. And this week, he is the subject of trade speculation, with The Athletic reporting that the Lakers are listening to offers for Kuzma, but LeBron isn't pushing for the move.
Let's keep one thing in mind very quickly. Last season, when Jason Whitlock was putting forth a lot of arguments about how fake LeBron James was when it came to his politically correct stances and his alleged associations with social justice movements, Kyle Kuzma was acting like a fanboy for LeBron James. He was standing for him on social media. He was one of those guys that was proclaiming, quote unquote, it's always your own people, you know. Whenever you're a three-dimensional thinker as a so-called black man, liberal blacks always try to get you to kowtow to all of the contrived left-wing social justice or pseudo-social justice movements that all so-called black people are supposed to be in favor of. At the end of the day, Kyle Kuzma thought that he knew where his bread was buttered. But if he had truly studied LeBron James's history over the course of the past 17 years, he'd understand that LeBron James treats teammates like prostitutes. He has fun with them and then sends them on their way. That's how he's always done all of his teammates. So the main thing with LeBron is that you have to know how to play his game with him. He's going to come in and smile and invite you to his house parties and his barbecues, and you go and you smile back. But always understand that when it's time for you to get traded, he's going to greenlight the trade. I believe that Kyle Kuzma has understood, even from before he decided to co-sign his trainer suites, that LeBron was looking at him as possible trade bait because he had not been playing well. And Kyle Kuzma is the type of player that if he's not bringing instant offense off the bench or as a third option as a starter, there's no real need to keep him on the team because he's not a good defender. And as they're going to mention later on in this segment, he has this thing going on with the blonde hair dye. And Whitlock is going to allude to certain things, and I'm going to expound on that because we have to understand that out there in Hollywood, that basically is ground zero for a lot of Luciferianism and the adherences to the Babylonian Kemetic Mystery School system. As I've stated in other videos, that's the reason why LeBron James went out to LA in the first place. Kyle Kuzma has gotten caught up in the Kabbalistic / Luciferian aspect of that environment because he's associated with the Kardashian clan.
All right, the question here is, think this Kuzma situation could disrupt LeBron and the Lakers?
No, not at all, especially because the leader of the Lakers has been through this situation before.
And beyond that, it's not really going to disrupt the Lakers because the Lakers are not going to win a championship anyway. Unless they make a huge upgrade in their roster, they're not going to win a championship. They're not going to beat the Clippers unless the Clippers suffer a catastrophic injury to one of their major players. They just don't have enough. When I watch the Lakers play, even in the games that they win, you can tell that they're old and they have to play at a certain pace. And LeBron is accustomed to not facing the opposition in a way where he respects their physicality and their athleticism. That's why what Kenny Smith stated after the first game between the Lakers and the Clippers was so pertinent. Whenever LeBron goes against Kawhi, he's going against another player that actually makes him look slow. I watched LeBron against the Dallas Mavericks last night, and they just have nobody who can guard him. LeBron's just bigger than everybody. It's like, and then with these rules and the style of play in the NBA today, it's just so much easier for him to go where he wants to on the basketball floor. He can't do that against the Clippers. So it's very difficult for people to understand why certain prognosticators and pundits, whether it be on television or anywhere else, are saying that the Clippers are going to beat the Lakers. But you can just tell matchup-wise, the Lakers do not match up well with the Clippers.
Watching that third fiddle just disappear in terms of expectations and what you thought you were going to get with that production. I'm talking about Kevin Love, I'm talking about Chris Bosh, who all declined in that role. And now you have a guy who is still trying to figure out his way in the NBA, and Kyle Kuzma, who is declining in that role. So if you're LeBron, how much did you really bank on Kyle Kuzma coming in to be that guy, whether as a starter or off the bench?
I think that LeBron James looked at Kyle Kuzma as a possible third option, but I think that LeBron James came into this season viewing Kyle Kuzma as a possible third option. But I don't think that LeBron was aware of how devastating the injury was that Kyle Kuzma suffered over the summer with Team USA. So that got Kyle off to a bad start. After that, there was just a ripple effect. And LeBron is probably talking to Pelinka saying, look, we have to improve this team when it comes to the outside jump shooting, and Kuzma's not getting the job done. I think that's the reason why Kuzma co-signed what his trainer said. And all that did was exacerbate the problem.
I didn't think that their expectations were hinged to him. This was a dynamic duo, AD and LeBron, not based on Kuzma. Kuzma is a luxury, but not a necessity. So
no, Kuzma is not a luxury. When you get to the playoffs and they face the Clippers, they're going to need a third option to seriously step up. As a matter of fact, in their last two games against the Clippers, even though they've lost both, the reason why both of those games were competitive is because they got a third option to step up and make the game look closer than it really was. In the first game, it was Danny Green. In the last game, it was Kyle Kuzma.
I think this disrupts their plans.
This level of controversy is the equivalent of a burp. When it comes to LeBron James, a burp, get it out your system, move on. I've been around LeBron with some real controversy. You know, y'all remember the fit in, fit out tweet he had for Kevin Love and started something? The drama that him and Kyrie had initially in Cleveland. I've been around some things like this is nothing. But I will say this, as it pertains to the roster makeup, Kyle Kuzma is really the only one that the organization can really seriously consider moving and having, attaining assets for. Kyle Kuzma, I will say this. I remember going into the season, somebody posted the big two. Like, you know, his fans posted on Twitter, the big two when AD came on board. Kuzma said, why can't be the big three? You know, so I
mentioned that in another video. During Summer League, Kyle Kuzma was trailing behind LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and they were doing that thing that these clowns in the NBA love to do, where they stand in a circle and cover their mouth and act as if they're exchanging government secrets that no one else can hear, understand, or listen to. Like, what they're saying is so damn important when it's obvious that they're really just desperate for attention. Kyle thought that he was in that clique, and then he found out when the season started, okay, I'm not in that clique. Because LeBron doesn't play. He really don't care. He acts like he's this outgoing people person who loves everybody, but at the end of the day, he wants to win. He knows that he only has a few years left to try to win, and he has no time for other players to develop. I believe that LeBron wanted Kyle Kuzma to be a part of that trade. Maybe if they could have got a third team involved. LeBron wants Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal is pretty much out of their sights.
I think this may be taking a hit to his pride, because he really feels like he's the third wheel. Like, he should be out there. He hasn't started, came from the injury. But aside from that, this is a blimp on the radar. I really would be surprised if Kuzma is moved, but definitely the Lakers.
I wouldn't.
Well, one of the challenges with that is trade value because of Kuzma's contract. Because you want to be able to get some valuable assets. Right now, he's still on his rookie deal. So you don't have the money to support to go out to kind of get a valuable player that you need to be that third wheel for the Lakers.
Doesn't matter. Right now, Kyle Kuzma has shown that he's not pro-LeBron enough. So they're just going to try to look to move him for a 3-and-D guy around the league. Someone who's shooting somewhere in the high 30s percentile three-point shooting and has relatively high defensive metrics. That's all they need. And in their minds, that will be an improvement over Kuzma, who's not shooting well and doesn't defend well at all. And on top of that, once again, has offended LeBron James.
It's a challenge within itself. They got first-round picks, but you can't trade them to 2023 because of the Anthony Davis trade.
Bingo.
So you kind of locked in with salary cap restriction, trade restrictions, and your most valuable asset being a rookie. Now, I mean, on his rookie deal. I will say this about Kyle Kuzma, though. It's harder when you're a young guy to kind of accept that role, especially being in L.A.
I get what you're saying, Jim Jackson, but we have to understand something. Kyle Kuzma cannot look in the mirror and say, I should be getting mine, when he's on a team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I would understand what you're saying more if it was Kyle Kuzma on the squad with Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, and he's trying to get his, kind of like how you guys were back with the Dallas Mavericks in the mid-90s, you and Jamal Mashburn and Jason Kidd. I would understand that more if the team was younger. But he's a part of a veteran team, so I think that it's easier for him to accept his role. The problem is he's just not playing well. And then on top of that, he's snipping about LeBron. And beyond that, who the hell knows what's going on off the floor? Because as I've already stated, there are allegations that he has associations with Jeannie Buss. When I see the blonde hair, it tells me that he's being put through the early stages of the programming. He is associated with the Kardashians.
I liken Sean Marion. Okay, he was the third guy with Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire. But he was a perennial double-double guy, got paid the max deal, was a perennial all-star. That role fit him well. Sometimes when you're young, you want to establish yourself early. And here in LA right now, if Kuzma is patient, listen, LeBron's not going to be there forever. You got a few more years to really garner who you are, to carve out your niche, to figure out this NBA life. And then when LeBron moves on, you got equity already built into this franchise. And now it's you and AD. Okay, so you can't get...
That's speculation. We have no idea if Anthony Davis is even going to sign a long-term contract with the Lakers at the end of this season. He'll be available to possibly sign a 5-year, $202 million deal. But will he do that? Or will he just hitch his wagon to LeBron's star and say, I'm going to sign a 2-year deal with an option to try to coincide with LeBron, and when LeBron's deal is up, I might be available to leave. I don't see Anthony Davis being the guy who says, I'm going to team up with Kyle Kuzma into my 30s. I just don't see that one.
Too far ahead of yourself if you're Kyle Kuzma. I know patience is a virtue as a young player, but bide your time, learn how to win, and then take control of it when you have an opportunity.
Yeah, I asked the question, and I'm going to have to say I don't think it can be a disruption either, just because let's say, because last year they went through the young players felt, oh, LeBron wants to trade us all, and that created some disrupt. But this team is championship focused in a real way. And if Kyle Kuzma's collateral damage on their run to the championship, ain't none of these veterans in that locker room. No one cares. Young guys, old guys, it's like, hey, it is what it is.
Basically, I could not have put it much better. I don't think that anyone's going to bat an eyelash if Kyle Kuzma gets traded. And I think that Kyle Kuzma is starting to understand that the writing is on the wall for him to get traded, because he missed being a part of that New Orleans package literally by the hairs of his chin. And once again, there are some rumblings as to why he was not included in that trade. I don't think that he's going to be able to avoid getting traded again, but we'll see.
The game is the game, so I don't see it having a real impact.
Oh, we ain't done, are we?
Clipper fan Marcellus Wiley just cannot get enough of these LA Laker locker room problems.
He looked at the camera. Who's that?
No, go ahead.
Hold on. Kyle Kuzma ain't gonna last here. But I'll tell you what.
How long?
I agree with you, bro.
How long do you think? Look, he's the only valuable trade chip that they have. One. What's working in his favor is Rob Pelinka. One of the few early successes he had was actually drafting Kyle Kuzma.
Also, Jeannie Buss is in his corner.
He's hitching his ride to that wagon. Okay. Problem is, Kyle Kuzma is not playing well. Last 4 games, have y'all seen? 8 points a game. Yeah.
All that damn peroxide in his eyes. Man can't see the rim.
27 from the field. 26 from
pressure bust pipes.
That's my point. So this is not about youth, because
Kyle Kuzma is also not a pure catch and shoot player. That's what I mean when I say they're not going to be looking to get a big name back for Kyle Kuzma. They don't care. Right now, they're just looking around the league to see if they can find a guy in his late 20s, early 30s, who has a relatively high three-point shooting percentage on the catch and shoot and has high defensive metrics.
Kevin Love, Chris Bosh all had their struggles in that same role. He's going to be worse in that role, which right now he's living up to that evidence. This is a bad situation, especially Laker fans are saying, dude, you got hurt not even playing for us. This is a Team USA injury.
Ding.
That you showed up at camp hurt, missed chemistry time, therefore you couldn't start, came off the bench. We thought you were going to be young James Harden in OKC. You turned out you ain't doing none of that. So now the narrative is shifted where why this won't interrupt their plans. They are thinking we're going to do this with something in addition to Kyle Kuzma as we lose him in subtraction.
How do y'all feel about, the hair stuff he's doing and coming up?
He's lost.
I think he's trying to figure himself out of it.
He's lost.
Yeah.
He's lost. I don't even want to go into it.
I agree with you, bro. He is lost, but basically Whitlock is saying that he's lost in Hollywood, but it's a bit deeper than that. Whenever you see the blonde hair, that's for Hippocrates. He's being put through the programming. Once again, he has associations with the Kardashians. He's initiating his embracement of Luciferianism, or his embracing of Luciferianism. But anyway, that's basically it on that, brothers. We'll see how things go with this Kyle Kuzma saga. So peace.